Goodman, you broke a little bit of coaching news. You were trying like hell to save it to break on the show, but I guess there were some other people sniffing around, and you had to find a way to get out in front of it. That news: High Point head coach Alan Huss, who was one of the more sought-after mid-major guys in the carousel this year, or at least linked, one of the mid-major guys linked with a lot of high major openings, is going to go back to Creighton as the coach in waiting, and Greg McDermott looks like he will either be retiring in a year or more likely 2 seasons before he calls it quits here on what has been a sterling career for Coach Mack. What can you tell us about Alan Huss, Greg McDermott, and the news that you broke today?
So this has been in the works for a couple weeks here. And I actually thought it was going to happen a couple weeks ago. And, they're trying to figure everything out at this point, whether Greg McDermott was going to retire after next season, whether it was a little bit more open-ended. Obviously, if you're Alan Huss at High Point, Rob, you're saying to yourself, like, he played there, he coached there. That's his dream job. He's coached under Mack there before. But I'm not leaving a High Point job where he's got a ton of NIL, where they've won at the highest level over these couple of years. I'm not leaving to wait 3 years. I'll come and maybe wait a year or two. And I think my sources say that's what it's going to be. Either a year or two for Greg McDermott. And then, he's 60 years old. He retires and gives it to Huss. And this is a win for everybody. It's a win for Greg McDermott because he's got Alan Huss now for the next couple of years. Makes his life easier. It's a win for Alan Huss because he knows he's got this Creighton job and he can prepare for it and make sure it doesn't fall off at all. He can kind of, again, make sure it's rolling like it has been. And it's a win for the university and administration because they have a plan in place when many people don't. You saw what happened with Coach K and Shire, and the times have changed here since. We know that. Mm-hmm. But, it's still more of a 1-year deal at this point. But they know they have their guy, and he's the right guy. I mean, Darren DeVries just took Indiana, so he's out of the equation. Who else would it have been? Porter Moser might have been in the mix here, another guy with ties. But ultimately, Alan Huss made all the sense in the world, and he gives up for at least a year here a head coaching job at High Point to be the coach in waiting, to be the associate head coach and coach in waiting. So I think this is a great move for everybody involved. The one person who probably sacrificed is Alan Huss because he probably could have waited another year or two for McDermott to actually say he's retiring and then just jumped in. Instead, he's given up probably some salary, certainly a head coaching gig, but working for Greg McDermott is also pretty good, pretty easy.
Yeah, and it allows you to be able to be in that spot and recruit knowing that players are not going to be surprised when McDermott retires, right? Like you're bringing someone in, anyone that they go out and land, whether it's a freshman or a transfer with multiple years of eligibility left, you're bringing them in knowing that potentially in 2 years, maybe even in 1 year, you're going to be playing for Alan Huss. And I do think that has been part of why you've seen Shire's transition at Duke be as about as seamless as it has been, because everyone knew the situation. All the information was out there. So I do think that there is a little bit of value in that for Huss and for McDermott. I'll also say, Goodman, you mentioned how much NIL Alan Huss has. Whoever is going to go get that High Point job is basically set up for, like, in 2 to 3 years, being able to win a bunch and then make the leap to the high major level. So there's a lot of assistance.
I think it'll be, yeah.
Go ahead.
I think it'll be, I'm not sure, they're trying to figure it out, but assistant Flynn Kamen is probably the one that has the best shot right now. He's obviously been with us. He's done a great job. So, in these situations, I'm usually a proponent of, if there's a guy on staff that deserves it, give it to him, keep this thing rolling, because like you just said, they've had NIL, they've already done a really good job in the portal. So to me, continuity is key. And I think High Point's, again, you look back to where they were a couple of years ago and where they are now, keep this thing going on that trajectory.